Hey there, everybody. Hey, we have a little bit of a prelude to start this one off for you. This is a little bit unusual, as you know, from watching these videos. The game that we're about to play is of some significance, and I'm going to show you why. This is here from a site that I found through Google called Champs or Chumps. Great name, thanks. Longest winning streaks to start an MLB season for a team. Now, most of us who care about baseball history know that the Atlanta Braves in 1982 set the record with 13 straight wins. The Milwaukee Brewers in 87 tied it. The Brewers missed the playoffs completely. The Braves lost, of course, the NLCS to the Cardinals. Before then, the record was with the Oakland Athletics of 81, who had 11 straight wins to start the season. Before them, it was, of course, the famous Brooklyn Dodgers of 1955, who had 10 straight to start the season. And before that, we had the Brooklyn Dodgers of 1940, who won 9 straight. So in 1949, the record would have been 9 straight, right? It had happened to that time 3 times, once by the New York Giants in 1918, who missed the postseason, once by the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1940, who barely missed the postseason, and once by the St. Louis Browns in 1944 that a lot of people will forget actually did go to the World Series. They won the American League pennant, though barely, and it was a war year. So with all of that in mind, we are going to see the 1949 Pittsburgh Pirates take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Pirates have won 9 straight, so they've tied that record with the 1918 Giants, the 1940 Dodgers, and the 1944 Browns. And the question here is, can the Pirates do it? Can they win one? Can they set the record? And we're going to find out here. They have Bill Worley on the mound against Howie Fox, and we'll be controlling Cincinnati, and we are off. This has been a game I've been looking forward to for a little while now, and this is our first chance to see if we can get a record setter. And Wally Judnich starts it off for Pittsburgh by hitting a fly ball over to Merriman in center field. He makes the catch, and there's one away. And here's Wally Westlake, the 2 Wallies, as usual, at the top of the lineup for the Pirates, and Westlake hits a little tapper back to Fox, the pitcher, throws over to Kluszewski for the out. There's 2 away, and here comes Ralph Kiner, and this is one to be scared of. And there's a ball to Kiner, 1-0 the count now on him. And there's another ball, 2-0 now the count. 3-0, and is Howie going to lose him? Howie does lose him, and Kiner moves down to first base, and that brings up Pete Castiglione, who's hitting .471, hitting the cover off the ball. And let's see what happens to him. There's a curveball for a strike from Howie Fox, and there's a liner to first base, and Kluszewski goes up and grabs that one for the out. Go to the bottom of the first inning, and here's Jimmy Bloodworth. Bill Worley is 2-0 so far with a 1.42 ERA, and he gets a strike there on Bloodworth to start it off. And there's a foul ball, hits the bat, 0-2 now the count. And there's one low, 1-2. And 2-2 is that one just missed outside. And a little pop foul ball, still 2-2. There's one wide of the zone, full count now. And Bloodworth lays off and draws the walk, and you can see the nerves are starting early for Bill Worley, who gives up his first walk of the season in his 3rd start. He's pitched 19 innings, doesn't have any walks. There's a ball to Danny Litweiler, and there's a strike as he swings and misses, and there's a little ground ball over to Castiglione at second. He goes to Bascal at short, goes to Bascal at second for 1, and on to Johnny Hopp at first for 2 for the double play. And here's Ted Kluszewski, and he swings and misses. And there's one off the plate, 1-1 now the count. And there's a sinker in there for a strike, and it's 1-2. And 2-2 now is that one apparently missed according to the home plate umpire. And there's another one that misses apparently, full count. And Kluszewski then swings and misses, and he's gone. We go to the top of the second. Here's Clyde McCulloch. And there's a little ground ball back to Fox, and he makes the play of first, 1 away. Here's Monty Bascal, and he fouls one back, 0-1 the pitch now. And Bascal gets the first base hit of the ball game. A little flare into center field that drops right in front of Merriman, and up comes Eddie Bachman. Bachman, 8 at-bats this season, 4 hits. 0-1 is the count out to Bachman as he fouls one off. Now it's 0-2. Breaking ball's wide, 1-2 now the count. There's one outside, 2-2. And there's one fouled back, still 2-2. And there's a perfect pitch and a little fastball in the outside corner that gets him for strike 3. So 2 outs now here in the top of the second inning, and here comes Johnny Hopp. Johnny Hopp is the one Pirate not hitting well, hitting 147, 1-1 the count on him. And there's one low, 2-1 now. And Hopp hits a bullet into center field, and he heard what I said, and he wanted to show me that he can hit the ball after all. Runners on first and second now with 2 outs. Top of the second inning, and here is Bill Worley again. Takes a strike, 0-1. He takes one high, 1-1 now as the count's evened up. And there's a fly ball over into right field. Litweiler has it for the out, and we go to the bottom of the second inning. Still no score, and only 1 hit in this ball game. Count now on Grady Hatton's 1-1 leadoff hitter for Cincinnati. It's now 2-1 as that one misses the zone. There's a ground ball over to Castiglione. It's short, moves over and throws to first for the out, and there's one away. There's Virgil Stallcup, who gets a hit, hits one over to Castiglione again, is just barely able to beat that one out. So that's the first base hit of the game for the Reds. And here's Johnny Wirostek. He hits a little ground ball over to Castiglione again, and he goes it himself to the bag and then throws to Hop at first for the double play. Go to the top of the third inning, still no score. And Wally Junis is a little pop fly over to Kluszewski right behind first base for the first out. These Pirates are hitting first ball every single time. Wally Westlake then, first ball swinging, hits a ground ball over to Bloodworth at second base, and he throws to first for the out, 2 away. Here's Ralph Kiner again. He walked on 4 pitches, and there's ball number 5 to him, 5 straight balls. And there's a strike finally to Ralph, 1-1 the count now. And he fouls one back. It's 1-2 on him. And there's a hanging curveball that's hit up to center field, and fortunately for us, not quite hard enough to be out of here. Merriman's underneath that when he makes the catch, and that does that. We go to the bottom of the third inning, and here comes Ray Mueller. And there's a strike to him, 0-1 the count, and he gets a little line drive over right in front of Kiner in left field for a base hit. So the Reds have a runner on first base now. Nobody out here, bottom of the third inning, and here's Lloyd Merriman, who not having a good time of things at the plate now. 1-1's the count on him. Now it's 2-1 as he works ahead in the count. There's a sinker in the outside corner for a strike, 2-2 now. There's one that's weakly fouled back. And Bill Worley gets him with that fastball in the outside corner, and there's one away now. And here's Howie Fox, runner on first base still. 1-1 the count. There's one bounced over to Bachman down the line at third, over to Pascal for one at second, and back on to Johnny Hop at first for the double play. Another double play that the Reds have hit into. Go to the top of the fourth inning, and man, this has been another one of these games. We've had a couple games recently like this that have been very close. 2-0 now the count on Castiglione. Now it's 3-0 on him. Howie Fox gets the strike, just barely manages to avoid losing his man. Another strike there, and it's a full count. There's a long drive to deep center field, and Merriman's there for the catch and makes it one away. Here's Clyde McCulloch again, and he takes a strike, 0-1. The sinker that goes down, 1-1 now the count. Here's a changeup that's outside, 2-1. And he rips a fastball to center field, and that one will bounce in front of Merriman for a base hit. And the Pirates have another runner on first base, and here comes Monty Pascal. A bunch of singles in this one for both teams. That one's hit the opposite way to right field, and Danny Litwiler is under that, and he makes the play, 2 away. And here's Eddie Bachman. And there's one smacked over to deep left field over to Wirostek, and he grabs that one for the out. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning, no score. Here's Jimmy Bloodworth again, takes a strike, 0-1 the count. There's a little tapper back to Bill Worley, the pitcher, who goes over to first base for the out, 1 away. Here's Danny Litwiler now. And like everybody else, he's 0-1. Everyone's looking for a hit today. 1-1 the count on him. He fouls one off, 1-2. It's fouled off of the plate, still 1-2. And there's a chopper outside of third. The count stays at 1-2. There's a ground ball up the middle, and it's right past the outstretched glove of Castiglione for a base hit. And here comes Ted Kluszewski now with the runner on first base, and Ted, of course, can make this game a problem for the Pirates in a hurry. There's a pitch that gets away from McCulloch, and Litwiler is able to advance to second base, and that one is going to be called a wild pitch on Bill Worley, who was not quite as sharp in this one so far as he's been in the past. Of course, Kluszewski then promptly pops out to Castiglione at short for the second out, and here comes Grady Hatton, 2 outs, runner on second base. And there's a strike to Hatton, 0-1 the count, 1-1 now on Hatton. And that swung on a missed, a curveball, 1-2 now the count. There's a sinker low, 2-2. And there's one in the dirt that's blocked, full count now. And Hatton steps out of the batter's box, asks for time, doesn't get it, goes back in, lines one to a right field for a base hit. Westlake has it, and we are going to send Litwiler and see if he can score on this one. And there's a play at the plate, and he is thrown out at the plate. This is a remarkable turn of events. So Hatton gets the base hit, steps out of the batter's box, asks for time, steps out without being granted time. Time is not granted. The pitch comes in. He manages a base hit anyway. And we send Danny Litwiler, who's not a very fast runner, but we send him anyway home, and he ends up thrown out of the plate with what would have been the go-ahead run here in the bottom of the fourth inning. And instead, Instead of an RBI, you end up with a runner thrown out of the plate, and we go to the top of the fifth inning, still no score. And here come the Pirates. And I tell you, every one of these games the Pirates have been in has been a game like this, with something crazy happening and with all sorts of shenanigans. 1-1 now the count on Johnny Hopp, and he swings and hits a gapper to right field and winds up with a double right off the bat. And here comes Bill Worley. And I think we'll just keep the infield normal. He does bunt, though. He bunts over to first base. Kluszewski muffs it. He finally goes over to Bloodworth, I think it is, for the out. Let me check really quick. It is Bloodworth who covers the first. And Ted just about screwed that one up, because if he doesn't make that out at first base, then you really have problems. Now there's a runner at third base and Johnny Hopp, and there's only one out, and the top of the Pirates' batting order is up, and Hopp is a fast runner, of course. Now, Hopp has been playing, he's been hitting eighth in the order because of his inability to hit so far in this season. That's the only reason why I put him there. Remember, I do the lineups for both teams, and this might end up being somewhat important in this one if Hopp is able to score, because he's such a fast runner. And so we're going to bring the infield in, even though it's early. There's a ground ball towards shortstop, and Hopp has to hold at third base, and Stallcup makes the play at first. And that's the second out, and that brings up Westlake, and things are a little bit calmer now. Man, oh man, though, that was that had a lot of potential, and you do have to wonder a little bit here why you're swinging away with Wally Judnich and why he's swinging at the first pitch in this situation. But that's the way that the Pirates have been playing this game. They've been swinging at the first pitch basically every single time up, and so here's Wally Westlake now, runner on third base. There's a strike to him, 0-1 the count, and there's one that's inside, 1-1. There's a curveball just under the knees, 2-1 now the count. And there's a high pop fly, and Kluszewski follows it, and he grabs that one in foul territory, and that does it. And there's no score still, and we go to the bottom of the fifth inning. You knew it was going to be a game like this. 1-0 now the count on Stallcup, 1-1 as he fouls one off, and then he gets a leadoff double, and that one is hit to left center field. That goes halfway up that incline over there. I'm going to grab that little bit of play-by-play. That's one that I didn't quite see. I've never quite seen before, I believe. And let's rename this here. There we go. And you know, if you watch carefully when you play Diamond Mine Baseball, you'll notice that there's all sorts of these little gems, these little nuggets that you'll find in the play-by-play. Here's Wiro Steck with the Stallcup on at second base, swings and misses for a strike, and there's one hit deep to right field. It's going to be, who is it? Is that Westlake making the catch? No, it's Judnich making the catch. And Stallcup is able to move to third base after tagging on that one, and there's one out. Here comes Ray Mueller, and now the question is, do you swing away or do you bunt? I think we bunt here. We're going to try a suicide squeeze. Let's see what happens. And that's bunted fouled on the third base line, and that kind of ruins the surprise, so we'll swing away now. There's one chopped to third base to Bachman, and we are going to send Stallcup. We'll be aggressive. And he's caught in a rundown, and we were maybe a little bit too aggressive, but I think that's still the right play to call there. And it was a little bit of hope that I had that they were going to just throw to first base and forget about us, but that didn't quite happen, unfortunately. And so the bunt, the sacrifice, suicide squeeze surprise ends up failing, and the Pirates are able to get the out of the plate, and there's two away now and a runner on first base, and here comes Lloyd Merriman. And there's a strike to start him off, 0-1 the count. There's one foul back, and it's 0-2. There's a liner to third base, and Bachman goes up and catches that one. We go to the top of the sixth inning, and here's Ralph Kiner to leave it off. And you never want to see Kiner up there, man. This guy can hit one out any single day of the week. 0-2 now the count on Ralph. There's a ground ball to Bloodworth on the right side, and he loses that one in his mitt. That's a base hit for Ralph Kiner. Only the fifth hit of the game for the Pirates, and here comes Pete Castiglione, top of the sixth inning, no score. There's one hit over to Hatton, and he makes the play at second base for one, but Castiglione's able to beat it out, and still a runner on first base now with one out. And here comes Clyde McCulloch. And there's a double play ground ball over to Stallcup, who gets the one out at second base, flipping over to Bloodworth, but they're not able to get McCulloch, and there's still one runner on first base and two outs now for Monty Pascal. And that's happened quickly because nobody's been taking any pitches. They're swinging first pitch just about every time here. 0-2 now the count on Monty. It's 1-2 now. And there's a little foul ball and just can't get that to that one. It's still 0-2. And there's a bleeder that gets between Hatton and Stallcup on the left side for a base hit. And that brings up Eddie Bachman now with runners on first and second, but 2 outs. Let's see what happens with Eddie. He fouls the first pitch back, 0-1 now. He lines a single to the opposite field, and that scores a run. That is the first run of the ball game. 1-0 Pirates now, top of the 6th inning. And boy, this has been an interesting replay, hasn't it? 1-0 the Pirates, and they're able to overcome 2 different chances that Cincinnati had to score. And it looks like the Pirates may very well wind up setting this record for most wins to lead off a season. Here's Johnny Hopp now with runners in first and second, 1 out. There's a ball to him, another ball, 2-0 now the count on him. There's a strike in the outside corner. It's 2-1. And there's one that's lifted down the first base line, and that drops, and that scores another one. It's 2-0 now. And boy, Johnny Hopp is having all the luck in the world. All the luck in the world as Cincinnati's unable to play that one. Now, I will tell you that the Cincinnati Reds here are not exactly the best team in the world. 1949 Cincinnati Reds were not a great team by any stretch of the imagination, but I am still very surprised at how well this Pirates team has been playing this season. This is not what I was expecting at all. Here's Bill Worley and takes a ball, 1-0 the count now, and there's a swing and a foul off the catcher, 1-1. There's one that's just low, 2-1, and there's a drive to left field, and Wirostek is there to make the catch, and that does that. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and here's Howie Fox. Hits a little ground ball over to Johnny Hopp, who grabs it and flips over to Worley for that one away. Here's Jimmy Bloodworth. And there's a ball to him and a strike. 1-1 now the count. And it's 1-2 as he swings and misses. There's a blooper over second base, and that's a 2-base error there on Westlake as he misplays that one. Bloodworth now on second base, and there's a runner on second base here for Danny Litweiler. And that means that Kiner might come up too with a runner in scoring position. Litweiler takes a strike and fouls one back, 0-2 the count, and he is caught looking. Got him looking in the outside corner for strikeout number 3. Sorry, I said Kiner might come up. I mean, it's Kluszewski who comes up. That's right, because the Reds are at bat here. This is what I get for looking forward, and Kluszewski ends up with a ground ball over to Bascal at second base, who makes the play at first for the out, and that does that. We go to the top of the 7th inning now. And there's a ground ball over to Stallcup, who throws over to first base for the first out from Wally Judnich. Again, first ball swinging. There's Wally Westblake, who's also first ball swinging. Another ground ball to shortstop. 2 away really quick here, top of the 7th. And Ralph Kiner then swings at the first pitch, and he pops it up to Stallcup at short. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. And here's Grady Hatton. It's a fly ball over to right field at Westlake for the first out. Here's Virgil Stallcup. These guys must be looking for to hit the train or something. Stallcup hits a ground ball in the second pitch to Bachman, who makes the play over to Hopp at first for the second out. And here's Johnny Wirostek. And there's a strike to him right off the bat. 0-1 now. Now it's 1-1 is the count. And he chases the fastball and fouls it off. 1-2 now the count. There's a hard ground ball just fouled down the third base line. There's a sinker off the plate, 2-2 the count now. And there's a ground ball back to Hopp, who flips over to Worley for the out. We go to the top of the 8th inning. It's been quiet. Pete Castiglione now. And there's a ball high. And there's a strike that is hit straight over to Merriman for the first out in center field. 1 away, and here's Clyde McCullough. And there's a breaking ball outside. 1-0 now the count on Clyde. And there's a foul ball, 1-1. And that one's fouled into the mitt of Ray Miller, the catcher. There's a ground ball again to Stallcup, who makes the play and throws over to first base for the second out. And here's Monty Bascal. And 0-1, the count in now is 1-1. There's a deep fly to right field over to Litweiler, who makes the play, and that does that for the top of the 8th inning. And here's Ray Mueller here, bottom of the 8th. And Worley misses in the dirt with that one, 1-0. And he hits a fly ball over to Kiner in left field. Ralph sprints in, grabs that one for the first out. Here's Lloyd Merriman now. And there's a ball to Merriman. And another one wide of the plate, 2-0 now the count. And there's a fly ball over to center field. Judnich is there for the second out. Here comes Howie Fox. And he fouls one out of play, 0-1 the count on Fox. And another one fouled out of play. It's 0-2. And remains 0-2 now. And there's one hit over to Castiglione at short, and he makes the play at first for the out. We go to the top of the 9th inning. This is probably one of the fastest games of the season we've seen so far, despite all of the adventures. A ground ball by Bachman over to Stallcup at short, and he throws to first base for the out. 1 away. Here's Johnny Hopp. And that one's fouled upstairs, 0-1 now. And Hop gets a piece of that one, it's 0-2. And he fouls off another one. And there's a breaking ball, 1-2 the count now. Another foul ball. There's a ground ball over the left side. Hatton makes the play, and Hop just beats that one out. He's 4 for 4 today. Johnny Hop is trying to tell me to hit him up a little bit higher in the batting order. Why don't you, coach? And Bill Worley's going to come on here. We do a throw to first, nothing happening. There's one that is laid down for a bunt and missed. 0-2 now as that one's fouled off of Worley's foot. Another foul ball, still 0-2. And this one is bunted foul, and that's a strikeout. 2 outs now, and here's Wally Jidnich. And 0-1 as that's the strike to Wally, and there's a ball 1-1 now the count on him. And there's a called strike, 1-2 on Jidnich. And man, that there's an off-speed pitch, and it just says here that changeup just dies of exhaustion, and that gets Jidnich way out in front of it, and he strikes out. And that's a good example of really descriptive play-by-play that you see from Diamond Mine Baseball. I love calling out all examples of excellent play-by-play that I see like that one. That was one that puts a smile on my face. And here we go, bottom of the 9th inning. The Reds are down 2-0, and the Pirates are 3 outs away from the record. Here's Jimmy Bloodworth. And he fouls one back. 0-1 the count on Jimmy, and that one is low, 1-1 now. And there's one lined to third base, and just over the outstretched glove of Bachman for a single as Ralph Kiner has to go around and pick that one up. And that means that there's a runner on first base now, and here comes Danny Litweiler with nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. It's been a little while since we've had any sort of offensive action in this game, so it's only fitting that we come on the bottom of the 9th inning. In the most intense and the biggest moment of this game, and we're going to have a little hit and run with Litweiler. And there's a swing and a miss, and they throw Bloodworth out trying to steal second base. So Danny ends up swinging and missing as we try for a little bit of hit and run here to try to make something happen with the not even the tying run. That would be the tying run would have been at the plate. And Bloodworth ends up being thrown out stealing. And, yeah, this is the way that it goes with this game. You've seen this, too, with the NP3 if you've been watching those games. You know, hitting and running and even bunting sometimes can be really adventurous, and that's what happens to you. And there's a swing and a miss by Litweiler, 0-2, and 1-2 is Worley missed with that one. That one's low between the knees, and Litweiler chases it, and down he goes, and that's the second out. And I tell you, Bill Worley, he's got 4 strikeouts in this game against 1 walk, 17 strikeouts so far this season. His ERA is 0.98. He's been pitching incredibly well, and probably is the best pitcher in the National League so far in this season. Now, we're not quite out of April yet. I haven't been looking at the statistics. The game compiles them automatically, but I haven't really looked at them yet. But there is something to be said for this Bill Worley. And here's Kluszewski, takes a ball low. And there's one in the zone for a strike, and there's a little dribbler to the right side, and Worley's off the mound. And he goes and grabs it and throws over to first base for the out, and that does it. And with that, the Pittsburgh Pirates of 1949 have won 10 in a row, and that is the Major League record, at least as of 1949. So the next question that we have to ask is not only can they set the Major League record for the times, which they have done, but rather, are they going to be able to get up to 13-0 or even 14-0? It's within reason. They play the Reds again, I think 2 more games in this series, and I'm not sure who the Pirates play afterwards. They've already beaten the Cardinals, and they've beaten the Reds before, and of course, as you remember at the beginning of the season, they beat the Cubs. The National League in general is not looking so great. The one team they have to worry about so far in the season is the New York Giants, who are 10-1. So this is going to be really, really interesting to see as this season unfolds. I sure hope that you enjoyed this one. We're going to keep bringing you these Pirates games as long as they are in contention, and they're going to be in contention for quite some time. 10 in a row is pretty significant. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.